Thornton, New Hampshire quiet, unremarkable, except for the home of Richard Dick Dow, a part-time state trooper with a solid reputation. Dick was well-liked and trusted. His wife, Janet, delivered mail on her route with a friendly wave. And Stephen, Janet's adopted son, was 18, handsome, popular, and obsessed with cars. Lights were still glowing in the Dow home, but their focus was drawn to the ditch just off Route 175. A tan Saab 900 lay twisted there, engulfed in flames. As they approached, the heat drove them back. But when they edged closer, seeing body outlines seared into metal, their blood ran cold. They seemed like a perfect family, church-going, model citizens, nestled comfortably on their plot of land not far from Route 175. Janet and Dick had married after her divorce, and Dick had legally adopted Stephen in 1964. For nearly 2 decades, they readied dinner together, laughed in the evenings, and loved their simple New England life. But on December 10, 1982, at around 6 in the morning, everything changed. The locals say they felt it somewhere between the last flicker of sleep and waking. An explosion shattered the dawn's hush. He claimed they argued about Stephen skipping school to fix the Peugeot's carburetor. According to him, Janet went to get them gas. Stephen put a bowl of gasoline in the back seat for a quick refill. On the return trip, he said, spilled fuel ignited. The cement blocks she'd thrown in the trunk for traction rolled forward, knocked them out cold. Then the car caught fire. Roland Gooch and John Sperling, a retired fire chief, sprang from their beds. First responders arrived to find 2 charred bodies in the front seats. Janet and Stephen Dow, both gone. Then, 2 years later, Dick married again, this time to Karen Safian. Had they covered his tracks to preserve reputation? Or was it instinct honor among colleagues? Who stepped forward and told Alan Clements, the investigator who uncovered reports in 2020, that Dick really worried his commander would ruin him. Investigators still gnaw at unanswered questions. Why light a trail of cement blocks? Why kill in cold blood and claim an accident? Why never cry out for help? He never came running through snow and embers to check on the wreckage. He buried his family and his secret in the twilight of his life. He claimed he had gone to fill the coal furnace in the basement and heard shots. The story of Janet and Stephen has grown long teeth in local legend. Their ashes scattering somewhere unknown, their crash never completely erased. He and his team set out to recreate the scene. They found a Saab from 1982, rolled it down the same hill at the same speed. Nothing exploded. On repeated tests, gasoline soaked into rags and thrown into the car door jiggled flames, but never a burst. Never a fiery blast. In 1993, she went to authorities and told them what she'd heard. The case reopened. He grabbed an axe, ran up the stairs, and found Stephen shooting Janet with Dick's service weapon. He said he attacked Stephen repeatedly with the axe. The windows bent. The gas tank ruptured awkwardly. The forensic pattern didn't fit Dick's story. Cement blocks didn't kill. Fire did, and not by accident. Then shoved both bodies into the Saab and rolled it down the hill. With a jerk of dark laughter, he told Karen the fire was just to cover up his own crime. From inside, lights still burned behind windows as firefighters secured the scene. But by sunrise, the crash site car and all had been towed away and destroyed. Investigators collected almost nothing. Their home, a mere 500 feet up the hill, shimmered with red light but remained silent and still. What rattled the neighborhood wasn't just the explosion, it was Dick's absence. No autopsies were performed, nothing was preserved. The scene vanished in hours. The shocking silence fell heavy. State troopers from Troop F, where Dick had served, handled the case. His former commanders were there that night. His statement was the backbone of the investigation. Dick said Janet and Stephen had fought that morning. Simple, tragic, case closed. But one day he told a different story, yet rumors lingered. No autopsy, no interviews with neighbors, no real evidence. Just a tragic accident. Karen entered his life in 1984. He told her about the crash, his grief, his loss. Deeply unsettled and frightened by Dick's erratic behavior, afterwards Karen left him. The Vermont State Police hired Thomas Bohan, a respected accident reconstruction specialist from Maine, and when dropped, the Saab showed heavy damage more than the official crash. The carburetor Janet supposedly carried was never found. The gas bowl was never found. The scene was cleaned out. Questions swirled, whispered in corners. Had Dick's former commander, a man rumored to bend the rules, stepped in to help? Dick died in 2012 at the age of 67. He never faced justice. He remarried. He moved on. Today the case remains open. Michael Louise Dick's name by adoption is forever suspected. The quiet house on the hill hums a little less now, because someone wanted them gone. And the engine that burned them, once ignited, will never go out.